I was hired to win. I've used whatever resource I have.
You want to lead the fight on gun control.
There's over 5 million of us, and we're armed.
Start an inquisition.
So good. Jessica Chastain, as you see there, is a ruthless lobbyist who faces her toughest opponent yet, the gun lobby, in the political thriller Miss Sloane. Please welcome the film's Oscar-nominated director, John Madden, back in Toronto. Congratulations on this film. I was lucky enough to see it at a special screening yesterday. My gosh, is it ever timely. You just saw Kevin, my co-host, throw to one Donald Trump, who is about to take over the White House.
I forget who that is, yes.
And as president-elect, this raises a whole bunch of questions. You hear him say, you know, he wants to drain the swamp. A lot of that means lobbyists. So I love this glimpse into how things work, what gets done, what doesn't, the corruption. What drew you to this? Are you yourself a political junkie?
I'm a political junkie for American politics, for sure, yes. I have been for quite a long time. And I think that lobbying and the whole lobbying process, what lobbyists do is probably quite opaque to most people. Probably quite opaque, opaque to a lot of people who are in the business anyway. It's a very slippery process, you know, advocating on behalf of things, and the whole ideological positioning is very flexible. And we haven't, I think, there have been films about the lobbying industry, but it's inside Washington, it's probably not been seen in quite this way.
Yeah, not like this, and not by a female protagonist, which takes us to the brilliant Jessica Chastain. You worked with her in 2010 for The Debt.
Yes.
How was she the perfect one, and why did it have to be, in your mind, a female?
Well, the script was always written as a female. It's not one of those films which occasionally happens, as you know, where a part is written for a man and somebody says, hey, I got a bright idea, let's make this a woman. It was always conceived as being that way. The writer, Jonathan Pereira, had always wanted to write about a woman. I read the script as a spec script about 18 months ago, so it's actually come together very, very fast. And Jessica and I have been looking to do something together ever since The Debt, and have been training material a little bit. And this script came along, and by, I don't know, 10, 15 pages in, I was convinced that this role belonged to her.
Because she's tough as nails and super smart, but there's also a vulnerability to her.
She isn't. I mean, she's super smart, for sure. She's not the character she's playing.
Yes.
I simply knew that she had that in her range, you know. It's an astonishing role for her, which she manages magnificently, I think.
And I have to say, it's so much fun when watching this, being a Torontonian, which is why I say welcome back. You've been here many times before, but the film is masquerading as Washington, D.C. So why did you pick Toronto? I'm just curious.
Well, you probably know the answer to that. I mean, the government is very enlightened here in terms of making this a kind of magnet for film production, because there are tax subsidies that are very, very important when you're making films. At this level, this is not a huge studio movie. We made it for very little, although I don't think it looks that way.
Yeah, you wouldn't know it.
But you know, Toronto has stood in nobly for virtually every other city in America, I think. In this case, Washington, D.C. It was not a huge stretch for us to be able to do that, because we found some incredibly good locations here that worked very, very well. The city's used to filming, obviously. The crews are amazing. So I think some people here, for example, will spot one or two giveaway landmarks, but a lot of people in Washington had no idea that we'd shot it here.
This is such a gift for you right now with the political climate where it is.
Yeah.
What do you hope people walk away with? Because it does sit with you. You know, Wolf of Wall Street, as much as it was fun, did that for me, where I'm like, wow, that's what led, it's all of these mistakes, right?
No, it's absolutely true. Look, it's turned out to be the most extraordinary moment for this film to land. We pressed for, or I pressed to kind of get the movie finished in time for this period, mainly because we thought that you know, gun regulation is the main topic of the film. Yeah. We thought that was going to be a very prominent part of the political discourse, and who knew that there would be no you know, policy debate whatsoever in the presidential race. And actually, what the film is really about, which is political process and gender politics to a degree, is what came to the fore. So, strangely, it almost looks as if the film were made to reflect this exact circumstance now. You know, it's not a secret to say it's a mess, basically, the political process. The incoming president refers to it as a swamp, which he's obviously going to drain. I'll believe that when I see it. I should imagine it'll just become a different kind of swamp. It's a mess because it's driven by money, too much of it. The lobbying industry is very much about that.
And you cover it all very brilliantly in this film.
Yeah, and it's about, you know, what it takes to keep, you know, for senators and representatives to keep themselves in office. That's really what the process is about.
And there's so many amazing twists and turns. My gosh, you all did a brilliant job. Miss Sloane opens in theaters Friday. Go to breakfasttelevision.ca for more information. Thank you for being here. Pleasure.
You're welcome.
Right now,
Thank
over to
you.
you, Kev.